Hello guys, just a quick message before we begin this video. On Wednesday I'm gonna travel to Kenya for 2 weeks, so maybe I will not upload as much while I'm at vacation. But before leaving, I really wanted to make this video because lately I've been playing a wizard PvP build. Maybe you faced me a few times in Battlegrounds, I don't know. But I've been able to refine this build and to refine my playstyle a lot. And in this video, we will dive very deep into every little detail and why this build actually breaks the meta in many ways. Because you will be super strong against the Crusaders, and you will be strong against everyone, actually. I rarely use the term broken. I'm gonna talk about it in this video, but I really think that this build is broken. So I really urge you, if you're interested, to study this video in detail. It's a little bit longer, and I know that some of you don't like to watch longer videos, but at the same time, you're spending a lot of time in game and you're playing different types of content. And I think it's worth it to invest some time in watching the entire video here and to study it in detail, because that will make your experience so much better. And also, this build is quite difficult to play. It requires a lot of different things from you in terms of skills, because you need great map awareness, you need great positioning, and there's so many things to think about. So that's why I really think it's necessary to watch not only the build segment, but also the Theorycrafting segment to understand the logic behind certain choices, and also to look at the different games, because I've handpicked games that illustrates different things when it comes to this build. So it's a wide palette of different shenanigans and different tricks that you can use in order to perform better. And since I released the first video showcasing this build, I've seen a lot more wizards adapting and trying to play this build, and I can see that they have great success. But I also notice when I play against wizards playing the same build, I kill them off very easily. So I don't struggle myself when I play against the same build. And this indicates to me that it's very, very skill reliant. So if you practice more, you can become even better. So this is a long video. It is what it is. I like to make these longer videos sometimes, but I'm not going to dwell any longer on this right now. And let's begin the video. So enjoy, guys.
Hello guys, Oroth here, and a warm welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm once again gonna showcase my updated version of a wizard PvP build, and I have to say that this build is broken. I rarely use the term broken because there are a lot of great builds, but I actually think that this build is quite broken, and to be honest, it's one of the most fun builds to play as well. So what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna break it down real quick to you, the essences, the legendary gems, and the set pieces, and also talk a little bit about what I've been switching out since the previous version. But I'm not going to dive too deep into what every essence does, because I've already showcased that in some other videos. But mainly what we're going to focus at is also my refined playstyle, because not only have I made some changes to the build, I've also changed the way I play the build, and I have done so with great success. And I have a win rate between 70 to 75% with this particular setup, and then I'm fighting against players that has a lot better stats than I do. So I'm punching way over my own weight, and I'm super happy, and I have so much fun when I play it. But before diving into the build, and of course we're going to look at some games as well where we analyze my playstyle. But first I want to talk about the fact that there are 3 different types of players. And of course this is a little bit simplified, but I thought it would be a great way to illustrate a way of thinking. The first category I call copycats. And the copycats, those are people who are very aware of the current meta, and they are looking at, okay, which type of build works best right now, and then they copy it. And then they have to rely on their skills. For example, right now we can see quite many Crusaders in Battlegrounds, and these copycats, they tend to class change to Crusader and play the builds that most people are playing. And yeah, these players tend to perform quite well because they are playing meta builds, but they maybe don't experiment that much themselves. So yeah, these are the copycats. The second category I call the stubborn category. And these are players that are constantly playing the exact same class and maybe even the same build for months or maybe even years. Once upon a time they used to be quite strong. They were having great stats and had great success when they played Battlegrounds. But due to a shifting meta, for some reason their favorite build is not working anymore. And these players, they're not capable of adapting to the current meta. And these are often the players that you see go onto forums and complain that now the game is broken. For example, the Crusaders are way too strong. The balance is so terrible right now. You have to nerf it, you have to nerf it, you have to nerf it. Because if they don't perform as good as they used to do with their build that they have been playing for more than half a year, in that case it must be the balance that is wrong. But yeah, they are stubborn. They don't realize that the meta is always shifting, and therefore they will not be able to perform well over a longer period of time because they have to be able to adapt. I have to give them some credit though, because of course there are sometimes mechanics that has to be a little bit nerfed. I do agree in this current meta, for example, that there is a little bit too many AoE CC skills. So you have these satyrs with huge circles that stuns everyone that gets close to them. And if they get to the idols, it's quite difficult to kill them, especially if there are many Crusaders. So yeah, it can perhaps be an issue. But if you play a build that doesn't work in the current meta, you just can't keep doing the same thing. And I'm not only talking about the build, I'm also talking about the playstyle. There's a lot of players, they have been playing the same build for ages, but they've also played it in the exact same way. So they don't try to adapt their playstyle either. And of course, in the long run, those players will not be as successful. But at least they are motivated and they want what's best for the game. But maybe I don't really agree with their way of thinking a lot of times. The third category of players is the pioneers. And the pioneers, they are very inventive and they love to theorycraft. And when they play a build that has been successful and then they find out that all of a sudden their builds are not that successful anymore because the meta has shifted, they try to come up with new ways to counter the meta. So now, for example, when we have the issue with a lot of AoE CC skills from Crusaders, for example, then you have to play a build that allows you to avoid being stunned. And you can either do that through a lot of anti-CC, but you could also do that by focusing on a lot of mobility, because the Crusaders are not very mobile and their circles are very visible. So if you are very mobile and you can dash around and move fast, you can avoid getting hit by a Crusader. These are the players who often come up with new types of builds that maybe eventually even shifts the meta. After watching this video, I would like you to see yourself in the mirror and be honest, and then let us know in the comments which type of player you think that you are. And yeah, of course, this is simplified. There are many subcategories within each group as well. But yeah, I thought it was just a fun little thought experiment to make these categories for you. Personally, I always strive to be a pioneer in most situations, because I think it's the most fun to come up with my own builds to see what works. And I also like to try to find counters to the current meta. And if we look at the meta today, for example, there is a lot of AoE effects that stuns you, especially from Crusaders, and we also have backliners with a lot of CC. We still see a lot of wizards playing CC orbs, and they put them onto either the idols or onto the choke points, and then in many games you end up in a situation where one of the teams can't get out of their spawn, or they can't get past the idols, because if they wanted to do that they have to go through these AoE effects, and then it all comes down to which team is the strongest, because in many situations both teams, they have the same type of composition and there's a lot of meta builds, and then it's just about who can deal the most damage and break through, and then the other team will struggle for the rest of the game. Another issue that faces a lot of teams in the current meta is that you have maybe a bunch of Crusaders on the opposite team, and they are able to run to the idols and just park there with their Conjuration of Light, and you will just be stuck attacking from your own backline onto the idol, trying to kill these tanks that won't die. And on top of that, they have their backline that can support them, so yeah, it's very tricky to clear the idols in time in order to win the game. So most of the time we can see, yeah, we have some stubborn players in your team that plays builds that are not viable at all anymore. Most of the players are copycats, so they will play the meta builds, and then we have maybe a few pioneers some games. Let's do now a theory crafting session where we look at the current meta and think about ways to both counter the enemy builds but also counter the enemy's strength. If the Crusader is an issue when they reach the idols and can trigger Conjuration of Light to stall the idol, then we have to come up with a build that both allows us to counter those stuns, but that also counters their playstyle. So with that lens, we're now gonna look at this wizard build. What I'm gonna do now in the segments where I go through the build is that I'm first very quickly gonna show you which skills I'm using, which set pieces I'm using, and which essences I'm using, and also which legendary gems I'm using. And after that, we will look at them a little bit more in detail and explain why these choices are so strong for this current meta. And after we have done so, we will dive into a few battleground games where we also analyze the playstyle. Because remember, we both need a build that can counter the meta, but we also need to have a playstyle that counters the meta playstyle. So there are two different factors here at play. But let's continue and take a look at the skills I'm using. As primary attack, I use Electrocute, but I'm never using it because I don't want to lose mobility. In the first skill slot I use Slow Time, in the second skill slot I use Teleport, in the third skill slot I use Arcane Wind, and in the fourth and final skill slot I use Lightning Nova. Let's continue by taking a look at the set compilation. I use 2 pieces of Vitus Urge because I want to have extra beneficial effect duration. I use 4 pieces of the Gloom's Guide's Prize because this will increase my damage every time I use a dash skill, and it will also increase my critical hit chance. And remember that this is not strifed, so it's very strong. Actually, if you look at Banquet of Ice or Shepherd, they are strifed in PvP, so the critical hit chance value you get from those sets are not as powerful as this one. Finally, I also use 2 pieces of Baron because I will apply a lot of loss of control and I want to prolong that harmful effect duration as much as possible. Let's continue and take a look at the essences. I use Terminus Facade. This is a slow time helmet which allows me to use a lot of skills in a short amount of time. I use Coat of the Astrum, which is a Lightning Nova essence, and it has amazing range and deals a lot of damage. In the shoulder slot I use Sir's Fortuitous Ward because it will give me both a crowd control immunity and a shield. As pants I use Stalking Wind, and this will knock up any target I teleport onto. Very strong. And it also has no internal cooldown, so I can use this over and over again to keep a target knocked up. In the first main hand slot I use Mistral Rend. This also applies a crowd control effect. This is an arcane wind essence, and it also has very short cooldown, which allows me to spam skills faster thanks to the helmet here. In the first offense slot I use Weathering Eye, and whenever arcane wind hits a target it will also apply a movement speed reduction, so another control effect. In the second main hand slot I use Radiant Blinds, and whenever I deal a critical hit with Lightning Nova I will deal some extra AoE damage. This can happen once every second, and this of course works very well with the Gloom set here. Finally, in the second offense slot I use Frenetic Spark, and this is just to reduce the cooldown on my Lightning Nova so that I can spam it more often, because this helmet makes it so that whenever I use slow time, I can just show it, whenever I use a skill I reduce the cooldown of all other skills. So thanks to this helmet I can spam this a lot, and it's really good. Let us of course also take a look at the legendary gems. I use Colossus Engine because I really love the extra size, because it gives me more mobility, and the skill range is also amazing with this build. And of course this build is purely skill damage, so yeah, this gem is perfect. I use Bottled Hope for some extra damage. I use Blood-Soaked Jade for some extra damage. I use Spiteful Blood, both for some extra damage, but this is my favorite defensive PvP gem. It saves me a lot of times, so very good. You can even use it as an auxiliary gem, it's still very good. I use Roiling Consequence, both for the burn effect, which is always neat, but mainly for the critical hit chance and the increased damage of course. I use Seeping Bile, both for the extra dot effect, but also because this is another way of slowing targets, and the duration is also very long on this gem. I use the Abiding Curse, both for some extra damage, but once again I have a very long duration crowd control effect that reduces the movement speed and the attack speed of the target. And finally I also use Falter Grasp, which will disable dash skills for a brief period of time. I love this gem as well. It saves me a lot of times, and it also enables me to hunt down enemies and kill them off, so they can't escape. Let us of course also take a quick look here at the Paragon tree I'm using. I use the Gladiator category, and here I use Sheet Death, I use Juggernaut, I use Overpower, Grizzled Veteran, and To the Victor. We can also take a look at the Warband room I'm using, and here I use the Protector room just for the extra size to increase my mobility even further. Of course I also have a familiar with Savior on it, and here we can see that I have a familiar with 200 resilience and Savior, so I have Savior up every 60 seconds. We can also take a look here at the curse properties. I use 6 pieces of Ghost, and what this does is that whenever I use a buff skill I will summon an illusion that will take a portion of incoming damage, and while I'm nearby this illusion it will also increase my attack speed and my movement speed just a little bit. And yeah, this just adds a little bit of extra survivability, but here you can feel free to experiment if you want to. I also use 2 pieces of Atrophied because I will apply some continuous damage effects, but the cooldown is very long on the 2-piece effect, so this has almost no impact whatsoever. So let us now analyze this build and why this is so strong in the current meta. And the main issue for most players today, and if you read on the forums, what most people are complaining about is the Crusader stuns. And they are so tanky and can be on the idols, both in the new battleground mode and in the old battleground mode. So how can this build play around it? So first of all, we have very high movement speed. And that is thanks to this helmet, because this will give me 60% movement speed buff. Because whenever I use a skill, I will not only reduce the remaining cooldown of other skills, I will also increase my movement speed. And this is by up to 60%, so I will have capped movement speed all the time. This means that if I'm chased in either direction by someone who tries to hunt me down, and most often it's a Crusader, they can't reach me because I'm running faster than they do. So that's one thing that's very good for this meta, high movement speed. What I also have is incredible range, because the Lightning Nova here they have a longer range than the AoE circles of the Crusaders. This means that as long as I can dance around the edges of the Crusader AoE, I can deal damage to them, but they can't deal damage to me. So very, very strong for this meta. And this is of course not only good against Crusaders. I can kite enemies, meaning I stay at a safe distance. I run faster than them, they can't reach me, but I still keep dealing damage to them and I kill them off without taking a single hit. So very, very strong. If we look on the shoulder here and we scroll down, we can see that whenever I use teleport, I will get 1 charge of immunity against total loss of control. This means that if I use teleport and then a Crusader tries to stun me with his AoE circle, he will fail. And it will still count for the internal cooldown, so then it takes 3 seconds before he can stun me with the circle again. But until then I can just recharge this 1 more time. So what this means is that if I have a Crusader in front of me with the AoE circles on, I can teleport into the circle and then teleport again, so I'm behind him instead, and I will not be stunned. And what's also good about this is that I can fight against Tempest 1 versus 1, because also when they try to land a stun on me, they will fail and I can knock them up instead. So I can farm Tempest with this build as well if I play correctly. If I make a mistake and I overextend, or I don't make sure that I have this charge of loss of control immunity, then I will be stunned and then I often die because I'm still very squishy. This means that this build is quite difficult to play because you have to time everything perfectly and you need to have amazing map awareness to know where the enemies are, in order to plan ahead on which skills you should use, which skills you shouldn't use right now because you have to conserve them. For example, you always need to make sure that the teleport buff is up almost all of the time. These pants are also very, very strong because if you remember, I can now control targets using knock up with no internal cooldown. This means that whenever the Conjuration of Light is over, or if I find a Crusader without Conjuration of Light active, I can use this, jump on them, and then keep them in the air. And they will not be able to stun me as long as this cycle is going on. But I have to be careful because if I jump into 2 Crusaders, they will stun me because the first stun will fail, but the second stun will be successful. So once again here I have to play perfect and make the correct choice about when I should engage and when I shouldn't engage. And this comes with practice, so you have to be patient. What's also very good here is that I can apply a lot of loss of control effects myself. And if you paid close attention, I have a lot of loss of control effects in this build. So not only am I very, very fast and I can dash almost all the time using teleport thanks to the helmet, what I also do is that I apply loss of control effects. So I will further control the Crusaders so that they can't reach me, and I can also hunt people down because they can't run away from me because they are so slow. So very, very strong main hand here that works perfect for this meta. That's the same reason why I use this offhand. It's just because these effects can sometimes be on cooldown, and I want to make sure that I always control the enemies as much as possible. So almost in every game I get the longest control duration badge after the game is over. So that's the reason why I use this one, and this will also decrease my cooldown a little bit on Arcane Wind, which allows me to spam skills even more often, both increasing my survivability, making sure that I have the teleport buff more often, but it will also increase my damage output because I will have more Lightning Novas active at the same time as well. So super, super strong. This main hand, this is purely for damage output. It's superb, and there are very good synergies here with the Rolling Consequence and of course especially with the Gloob set. So very, very strong essence. And we can also see here that the Abiding Curse is also a very powerful legendary gem that both gives me crowd control and extra damage output. And if you see the duration here on this debuff, this is in PvE content, but even when it's strifed, this duration is super, super long. And combined with 2 pieces of Baron And if you take all of these crowd control effects together, it's amazing. And finally, yeah, this is just a utility essence. I use this for the extra cooldown because I already told you how important it is to be able to spam as many skills as possible. But what's also important to mention here is, of course, the new 1-star gem Falter Grasp. Most viable builds in Battlegrounds, they utilize dashes, and they either use it to engage the enemy or to escape from the enemy. And this gem is so powerful because it will disrupt both of those options. So whenever I'm engaging and attacking someone and deals damage to them, they will not be able to dash away from me. And even if they would be able to dash, I'm often very much faster, so I will catch up with them anyways. But this is an excellent tool, and also if I hit an enemy from afar, that's also why I use these dot gems here, like Seeping Bile, because if an enemy manages to escape, this dot will also trigger Falter Grasp, and then maybe someone else in my team can finish them off. So I really love this gem, and yeah, it's one of the strongest 1-star gems in the game for PvP. So all in all, if you think about it now, what this build allows me to do is to bypass all of those AoE skills, because I have this immunity on the shoulder. So I can jump through those choke points when there's a lot of AoE effects, and I can go behind enemy lines. And when I can go behind enemy lines, I can also start to disrupt the enemy's playstyle. And the meta playstyle right now, especially for Crusaders, is to run to the idols and pop off their Conjuration of Light. And if we let them do that, then they will be very dangerous, because then they will be able to stall or push the idols very effectively. But if I'm able to get behind enemy lines and start attacking these Crusaders as soon as they spawn, all of a sudden I will either kill them because I catch them off guard, or I will force them to use Conjuration of Light before reaching the idols. And if they get past me, when they arrive to the idols, Conjuration of Light is not available for them, and then you can kill them. And the same goes for Barbarians. I can trigger Undying Rage early, and yeah, they will just not be able to catch me. If I play correctly, I will not die using this build. But yeah, it is very difficult to play, so you need to practice a lot. Here I have looked at the current meta situation, and I've tried to craft a new build perfectly to counter it. And we will see now in the upcoming games how efficient this is. And that's why the win rate is also so high. I have a win rate of, as I said, between 70 to 75% with this build. So very, very strong. So with that being said, let us now move on and watch at a couple of Battleground games where we will analyze exactly everything we've been going through here, and you will see how impactful this strategy is. So enjoy. So here we are in defense, and we can see that they have 2 Crusaders on the enemy team. And now the goal is to disrupt them as much as possible. Because if we're able to disrupt the Crusaders or the other tanks in the opponent team, then we will most likely win the game. So what we're going to do now is that we're going to watch this game, which is in defense, and then we're also going to look at an offensive game. And then we're going to analyze different tactics we can use there as well. And if you notice, I keep spamming skills almost all the time, and this is because I always want to have a lot of lightning novas up. So if someone gets close to me, and if they manage to stun me, I will still deal a lot of damage to them. So I will always be dangerous whenever someone gets close. You will also see that I will always try to not use skills when slow time is not available. So now, for example, I will use slow time before using any skills again. So when my cooldown is, my duration of slow time is wearing out, then I often go back for a second just to use slow time again before engaging. So what I want to do when I play in defense is that I actually want to try to get behind enemy lines, just as I've talked about. because now I can poke them from behind and they will have nowhere to go to heal eventually. So let's see how that plays out, and pay close attention now to how mobile I am, and also how great range I have of these lightning novas. So I can dash around at full movement speed while I keep on dealing damage all over the place. I know that they have some Crusaders and they have some strong players in their team, so what I have to do now is that I have to go out here and help. Often I can stay in that spawn area, could maybe have done so this game as well, but my analysis was that maybe they are a little bit too strong and can push the idols if I don't go out. And now you will see me here. I'm not standing on our backline. I'm gonna try to be as much as possible on their backline. So I want to stay in that choke point outside of their spawn, and I'm gonna use my mobility in order to avoid taking any hits or any stuns, etc. Now I see someone healing here, but I'm a little bit too late. I'm checking the minimap all the time and trying to assess the situation when it's correct to jump into the backline. And I think that it's the best thing to do. I can still chase someone down like that because he's a strong player, so if I kill him, that's good for the team. And it's a little bit easier to get on their backline if they have pushed the idols a little bit. So the further they push their idols, the more space I will have on their backline. So it will be easier and easier the longer the game progresses to be right here where I am right now. And the goal, as I've mentioned, is that as the mid-game approaches, I want to be able to disturb these Crusaders so that they can't stand on the idols like this. But even now, when I'm fighting alone on this side, you see I can just use my range and I will kill them off. They will push it a little bit if I'm not standing on the idol, but I can't stand there when there's a Crusader. So I have to do it that way. And whenever I clear that side, I don't run to the other side. I always try to go here from behind. Now I'm overextending a little bit. I should have maybe gone back, but maybe I can get out anyways. Looks like it. Ooh, there I tried to heal, but it failed somehow. But I was a bit lucky. And now you will see that the idols are pushed a little bit further. So now I can soon start to move in behind the enemy lines. And then when the magic starts to happen. So now I'm right here. They can't heal. I'm gonna disturb them all over the place here. And I'm constantly checking the minimap where they are. Now I see people approaching. I should have maybe gone the other direction there because I didn't have the teleport ready. So I made a mistake. And immediately when I make a mistake, you see what happens. So now I can go from side to side here and try to be as annoying as possible. But what's important is that when I go from side to side, I don't walk via our own backline. I walk via their backline. So then if I manage to get to the other side, I will be able to attack them from behind many times. And I have a lot of CC, and now you can see how important it is. We are fighting them in front of the idols. So they have huge troubles reaching the idols to push. And you can see this Crusader now, he's already low HP, and he will soon die most likely. Yes, exactly. And also here now, if I'm fighting in this situation, I want to jump behind. This time I didn't do a proper teleport. Maybe it's good to have two teleports ready so I can double teleport. And now I can be here on the backline. You see they can't heal. And it's even if they survive and I don't kill them, they are low HP, and then they will be a lot more careful and they will not push. So then they will lose even more time. And while all of this is happening, we are also dealing a lot of kills. So this game will probably be won on kills if the time wouldn't run out. And yeah, now it's only 1 minute to go, so maybe I get a little bit carried away. I want to play the hero for some time. And of course, you also have to make choices depending on the situation of the game and the time remaining. Now I jump in behind him so he can't get away. Always behind. Someone is coming on the map, I'm checking all the time. And then I time the knock up there, and you can see that there I stop a Crusader, I catch him off guard, and he can't reach the idols. And even if he pops Conjuration of Light there, it's fine, because at least then he won't be able to do it on the idols, and then I mean, it's mission accomplished. And here I don't understand why I can't kill this guy. It's frustrating, but yeah, what matters is a win. So only a few seconds remaining, and this was the first game, and I'm gonna show you some more great tactics that you can use when you play this build. So here we are in offense, and I'm gonna show you a really cool tactic that you can use. So first of all, we have to kill off these idols, and in the enemy team there is very strong Crusaders here, so we have to disrupt them as fast as possible. And I now conserve 3 teleports, and now I'm trying to dash through the entire enemy team to get out. I don't activate the idol there because I'm low HP and I also have slow time running out, so it's better that I go deep. And now I will make it a lot more difficult for them to control our Chokepoint outside of our spawn, because if they go back to heal, I can poke them from behind. And you can see now that thanks to running out like this, I have the whole enemy team on me here, and now we were able to activate the idol on the left side. And whenever we have the chance, we should push ahead together here. We have to go deep like this, and now I do it alone, but I think that we should be at least 2 players in front here. So if someone else has great mobility and is a DPS class, they can join me in front at this stage of the game. A little bit later in the game, the tanks can also step a little bit ahead of the idols. If you look now on the right side, you can see now that there are red dots approaching our idol, and they could run there without anyone challenging them. So then they can run to the idols and they activate the Conjuration of Light, the Crusaders there, and now we're no longer pushing on the right side. Imagine instead if the people that were standing on the right idol, if some of them went ahead to disrupt earlier, then we could have pushed it a little bit faster. So if you look now on the minimap, on the left side, you can see that we have no one behind them. So if I can come here from the back side now, I can be really annoying and release some pressure for the people who are trying to push. So I don't want them to fight against the Crusader on the idol, at least not from behind the backline. I want them to try to bypass him, and that's why we need a build like this, so that I can dash through AoE CC, for example, as we had talked about. The problem is that there's a lot of players, they're constantly typing in the chat that you have to fight on the idols and you have to not chase, etc, etc, and of course you should sometimes not chase people, but you can't just fight on the idols in every game, because if you fight on the idols, then it just comes down to who has the strongest team or the best team composition. You have to play your role and disrupt the enemy as much as possible. So I always park here. I see someone coming. I tried to disrupt him there, but he was immune to my knockup. So it looks quite dire now, but it's not quite over yet. So maybe we can turn this game around. And at least it's not only about disrupting tanks and hinder them from reaching the idols. Playing like this is also about killing off their backline and their DPS classes, because now they can't help out on the idols at all. So now all of a sudden you can see that we are pushing on the left side, because if the tanks manages to reach the idols, they still need backup from their backline. And this build is so good at destroying their backline entirely. And now it's only 2 minutes and 25 seconds to go, so we still need to push both sides. So now I'm actually going to push this side a little bit, because we need to have both of them pushed in the end in order to win in this game, since they have such strong tanks. And yeah, I still keep on checking the minimap, and now I have a lot of backup here. Now I can go back here and disrupt again, hinder them from reaching the idols, just like we have done in the previous game and tried to do so far in this game. I can see now that they have pushed on the left side quite far, so I don't want to die here. I have to stay alive, because now if I'm here, you see that they will always have to focus attention on the right side. So I always have to look now to make sure that we are pushing both sides here, and we might have a shot. I'm not playing this game optimally. I do some mistakes where I don't place myself in the correct position when I'm using my teleport, and that's why I'm dying a little bit. Even in these games where there are very strong opponents, if I play correctly, I will not die. So that's my way of thinking. If I'm dying, it's because I make a mistake. And now all of a sudden we wiped the entire team, and we managed to turn this game around. And this was possible because I had great teammates who did their part. And yeah, I was about to flame there because I once again made a mistake. And I thought that it would maybe lose us the game, but yeah, they did a good job there. So it was a very close game. They got a lot of kills, but we managed to prevail in the end. So yeah, it was a very nice game. I'm just giggling a little bit at my rage there. Sometimes it's allowed, I guess. Yeah, and here we are in defense again, and I just wanted to show this last game because now we will infiltrate their base here, and we will try to use this strategy to its fullest and see how it goes. And here we will see the range and the capabilities of this build in full display when you have a lot of room to move around, as we also have in the new Battlegrounds map. So it's really, really good. It's amazing, to be honest. So the goal now is to be a pain in their ass for as long as I can. So let's see how long we manage. And I also noticed that their team this time, they are a lot squishier, so they don't have that many tanks, so I can deal damage like crazy. And when they don't have that any crusaders, I don't have to be as careful either, because I will out damage most other squishy characters. So instead I can be a lot more offensive. And now I'm almost dead. Now you will see I can dash to safety very fast and just heal up. And then we can rinse and repeat. So let's see how long we manage to do it. And here's a Tempest. They are known for being quite fast, but let's see if we can catch up with him now. He has nowhere to run. Okay. Let him go back to heal. Let's kill some people here instead. And you can do this even if you're a lot weaker than your opponents, because the range is so huge. So if you do this correctly, you can punch way above your weight and deal tons of damage. But it ain't easy, because, yeah, I mean, you have to know where all the enemies are at once and make the right decisions. Sometimes you're chased by 3-4 enemies and they can all try to stun you, so you have to time every teleport just perfectly. So I often play very offensively when I have a couple of teleports that I can use in a row, and then I dash out, just wait a little bit for the right moment, then I go in again, like a cobra that stings, and then I dash out again. So yeah, and the funny part here is that these players, they don't have a lot less stats than me. There are some of them that have equal strength, but I can still kill them off quite easily. So if they try to go out, then they will be attacked by my teammates, but then they can't go back to heal, because then I will kill them. So they have really not anywhere to go here. They are stuck in this room. And imagine now if you are two strong players using all of this area to kite. If you have a build with high mobility, you can do so much and use the entire battlefield. You can also see there I cancelled my bandage before it was ready, because I could see on the minimap that someone was approaching and I couldn't really know who it was. And I didn't want to risk being stunned by a Tempest, for example, so I had to interrupt the bandage just to use teleport once, so that I'm immune to control, just in case. So yeah, I mean, this game is of course not super fun, but to play maybe, especially if you're on the enemy team here. But I just wanted to highlight the capabilities of this build. And if you play this smart, you can do so much shenanigans, and it's crazy, and they can't catch you. But I have to say that when I now tend to face quite a lot of wizards who have started to adapt and that plays this build, and I can kill them off quite easily, most of them. So I guess that you really need to practice a lot, and it's very, very skill reliant. Now I'm almost dead here, but I have Gladiator, luckily. So hopefully I can get out, and now they can try to chase me, but they don't have a chance to do so. And now the game is over. So yeah, I mean, some of the games you can just like obliterate the enemies, and I'm not a huge whale with like capped secondaries. I have around 5k on my secondaries. I have a 7.6k resonance build here, so of course it's quite strong. But in most of my lobbies, I'm up against players that are a lot stronger than me, and as I said, I punch way above my weight, and I can often fight 1 versus 1 against 12k resonance tempests, and they will not even hit me. almost, because I'm dashing around. They will not be able to land a single stun, and whenever they don't have a flowing strike immunity active, I can just knock them up and kill them off. So it's really a broken build. If you play it correctly, you will have amazing results. And it's also nice because you're constantly in action, and you are basically breaking the meta by disrupting all these tanks as well, when you can park on the backline. So feel free to try it out, study the gameplay here in detail, because the positioning is so important. You have to think about every little choice you make, and when you do the wrong decision, it often is very costly, and it might kill you. But then you just get back up on the horse and try again, and you will improve more and more. So with that being said, I want to thank you for tuning in. This was a little bit of a longer video, but in order to explain how a build works, I wanted to really dive into the details, both regarding the playstyle, but also regarding the theory crafting and the choices, and why is this build so strong in this current meta. So enjoy, have fun playing it, and until next time, I want to wish you a very nice day or a very nice evening wherever you are. And to all of my clan members in Nyx, I would of course also like to say Voduk Nyx, Sholak Sul. So bye bye.